Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Coffee with Tea. I'm your host, the amazing T Street. Today's topic: how to write yourself out of the wrong story. I don't know about y'all, but this message today is for me. How to write yourself out of the wrong story. Every one of us is living inside of a story. Some of us are living these great stories right now that may or may not have always been great. If we're honest, some of the chapters were written by trauma. Some of the paragraphs might have been shaped by other people's opinions. And some pages were filled with mistakes that you made. But y'all, here's the good news: you may not control how the story started, but you do control how it continues. So that's why today I came by to tell somebody we're going to talk about how to write yourself out of the wrong story. If you don't like the story that you're living in, it's time to pick up your pen and write yourself out of that wrong story. Good morning. Good morning, Jackie. Good morning, Miss Brown. Good morning, Alana. I see new people on. Good morning, Deaconess Rhonda. I can't pronounce. I see Rhonda face. Yeah. Good morning. Um, I don't know about you. Good morning, Wendy. I don't know about you, but as I think about picking up the pen and rewriting my story, the first thing I had to do was reread my life without all the judgment. Y'all, sometimes we're the most critical people of ourselves. You can't change your story you refuse to acknowledge. I don't bring the lens with good or bad assumptions about my life. Most of us skim past the painful parts. We don't want to sit in the painful parts of our lives that were there, because I don't know about you, but I try to run from pain. I don't intentionally seek it because I'm not masochistic. But authors have have read the whole manuscript before they revise it. Before I could rewrite my first book, I had to go back and read the whole thing so I would know and be able to take inventory of the places or the things I needed to supplement. I started asking myself questions when I wanted to rewrite my life and write myself out of my old life. I asked myself, where did I start believing some things about myself? Where did I start settling for less? Who helped shape the chapter of my life that went so wrong? I didn't do that to shame T. That's not what the purpose of this is, but to understand me. Healing begins with honesty. You can't edit what you won't examine. Ooh, y'all like that, didn't you? I like good lines, y'all. You can't edit what you won't examine. How you gonna write yourself out of a bad story or out of the wrong story if you can't read the whole story? You got to read it in order to edit it. All right. So, good morning, Miss Woods. So that's the first step. Number two, stop letting old narratives hold the pen. If you're going to write yourself out of the wrong story, you got to stop letting old narratives hold the pen. Some of us are still living by sentences that we start writing years ago or that other people start writing years ago that told us, I'm not enough. People always will leave me. This is just how my life is. I've just, settled into it because this is just how it's going to be. But those drafts are not your destiny. Trauma may have written a chapter, but it does not get authorship rights over your future. I'm going to give that to somebody who needed to hear that this morning. Trauma may have written a chapter. For me, trauma wrote several chapters in my life, but it does not have authorship rights over my future. I get to evict old labels, expired expectations. I talk about this in my TED Talk. If you haven't seen it, please go to YouTube and catch my TED Talk. And borrowed limitations. Y'all, I don't believe that the third makes me in the worst third of my life. I believe that it invites me to the best third of my life. And I get to replace those old labels and expired expectations and those borrowed limitations and replace them with things and truths that start with I am growing, I am learning, I am becoming. Just because it happened to you doesn't mean it has to define you. One of the things that people who know me will tell you, I don't live in the narrative of my head from the traumatic era of my life. I don't live in that narrative anymore. So I don't know who needed that this morning, but somebody needed to know that you don't have to live in that old narrative. The third step, start writing new pages with small, brave actions, y'all. They don't have to be big, bold things that you start with. You don't rewrite your whole life in one day. You write it one choice at a time. New stories start with one boundary. This morning, my pastor was talking about when we set up boundaries and we give people limitations about how to treat us. It starts with one hard conversation. Sometimes, y'all, that conversation might need to be with yourself, and sometimes it might need to be with other people. Like, y'all, I can't stay here. This is not serving me well. So the hard conversation is, I'm going to write myself out of this part of the story. One application, one prayer, one decision to try again. Every small action is a sentence. Every consistent habit is a paragraph. So you start with writing the sentence, and pretty soon you write a sentence every day. You got a paragraph because that's a habit. Every courageous step becomes a new chapter in your life. Don't wait for perfection or perfect conditions. Y'all, perfect conditions, I'll do that when my life get better. Y'all, guess what? No such thing as a perfect condition. Rewrite your life in the place that you're in. Sit in the spot that you're in now and start to write. And it's okay if your life is a little messy. Did y'all know? I've seen movies where authors are writing and they're throwing papers all over the place. Authors write in messy rooms all the time. Progress does not need permission, nor does it need order. Let me leave you with this. You are not stuck. You are not finished. And you are not your worst chapter. So pick up the pen, rewrite your story with compassion, release what no longer serves you, and rewrite with courage, because the power isn't in what happened to you. The final chapter is in what you write next. I'm going to say that to you again. The final chapter isn't in what's already written in old chapters, it's in what you write next. If you don't like the story that you're in, start writing your way out of it. I dog double dare you. Good morning, Darlene. I dog double dare you to know that you can write yourself out of the wrong story. You in the wrong story, write yourself out. Reread your life without judging it. Stop letting old narratives hold the pen and start writing new pages with small, brave actions. I'm the amazing T Street, y'all. And just like all of you are rewriting stories and writing yourself out of wrong stories, so am I. Because you know what? Though I'm the amazing T Street, there's absolutely positively nothing amazing in me that's not in each and every one of you. So today, if you're home, start to pick up the pen and write yourself out of wrong stories and rewrite a different future. Have an amazing, if you're snowed in, good, me too, snowy day.